It was a rainy and foggy winter late afternoon as I left my work in Danbury, Connecticut. I was for a very short time on I-84 when this nightmare began. I had entered the highway, and I was being extra careful as it was already dusk. With the rain and fog, it was difficult to see. The taillights ahead were a fuzzy red glow, and the headlights behind moved slowly as I merged into traffic. I turned my radio on to get the weather traffic report for the drive home. I fumbled with the reception when a pickup truck swerved behind me with its high beams. He pulls right up to my bumper. I'm driving an old Honda Accord, and this is a heavy-duty pickup truck. The ride's high, sitting on my bumper so close it scares me. His high beams are blinding, making it impossible to see the cars ahead of me or to see if any cars are coming up on me in the left-hand lane. I put on my blinker and blindly moved to the left lane to let the truck pass me on the right. But as I did so, he pulled again directly behind me in the left lane, flashing his headlights, which was so disorienting. Again, I blindly switched lanes, moving back to the right lane. The truck did the same, still riding my rear bumper so close, if I had to stop, he would surely crash my car with no room to stop with his aggressive tailgating. I decided to increase my speed to see if he would fall back. He didn't. He stayed right on my tail. I switched lanes again and he mimicked my every move. What had I done to have this guy go berserk on me on the highway? I had no idea. But I saw Route 7 coming up. It was my exit to Wilton, and I was much relieved thinking this nut job would continue on 84 and I'd lose him. How wrong I was. He took the exit with me, blasting his horn and coming within inches of my car. I could make out very little about the truck and could not see the driver. Impossible to read the license plate. All I could see was that it had a snowplow attachment on the front that looked like a battering ram in my rear window. The next road, I took it without signaling, and he sped by. But to my horror, I saw his brake lights, and he spun his tires in reverse and backed up, even with traffic coming up behind him. He forced them to move to the side as he rocketed backward and took the road I had taken. He was behind me in a minute. What was this guy doing? What had I done to become the target of this maniac? Ahead of me was a gas station. It was empty of customers, but I figured I'd be safe off the road and under some lights. I pulled in between the door of the convenience store and the pump. The pickup came in after me and swung around to face my car, blocking my exit. He stood there revving his engine in a menacing way that made the truck lurch forward with each burst of power. To my horror, the cab door opened. A huge man dropped to the ground. With his high beam still in my face, I couldn't make him out, but I could see he had what I thought was a crowbar in his hand. I was panicked, staring at this angry man lifting a crowbar above his head, ready to strike down at my car. At that moment, another pickup truck pulled in behind his truck, and I heard it blare its horn. I threw my car in reverse, hitting a display of tires that fell over my hood, creating a barrier between me and the crazy man. With the man trapped by the truck behind him and the pile of tires ahead of him, I escaped. I took as many turns as possible, and finally found a busy supermarket parking lot. I pulled in and hid. I didn't leave my car. I just turned the engine and lights off and shrunk down as low as possible in the driver's seat. I still have no idea what I did to warrant such rage. For the next few weeks, I switched cars with my husband and drove his car to work and back. Every time I see a big pickup with a snowplow attachment, I shake in fear. I hope I never encounter that man. One fateful Saturday night, I was driving home from a friend's house. He lives out of Hickory in a beautiful part of the state in the Appalachian Mountains foothills. The roads twist and turn and are narrower and unlined at times. It was midsummer and the roads were wet from a recent rain. The cloud cover obscures the moon, making it eerily scary to be alone. I was driving my dad's Dodge Charger. On dry days, it makes driving these roads fun. I often pushed it, holding the roads tight on the run home. I knew these roads like the back of my hand, but on this night, I was being careful. I had just left my friend's house when another car came straight at me from over a hill at high speed. I laid on my horn and cursed the driver as he narrowly passed me inches from my car, his high beams blinding me as he roared past in what I recognized as a Dodge Challenger Hellcat, almost causing me to run off the road. I still cursed the insane driver on this wet night road when I saw him turn around. A blaze of light and the roar of his engine were on top of me in seconds. He was inches from my bumper, menacing me. I dared not stop, thinking this guy was indeed a nutcase, so I pumped my gas, pushing my dad's Charger as hard as I could, but it was no match for the Hellcat. I had to use my knowledge of the road to avoid being killed by this maniac. I hoped he would not follow me down some of the unpaved roads and give up his terrifying pursuit. However, he hung on my tail. If I pulled ahead, he would screech behind me in a rush and roar of his engine. 2 times he hit the back end of my car. We both fishtailed back onto the state route and leaped well over the speed limit. The road was black with new asphalt and yet to be lined, and in the rainwater it was slick as ever. I knew this road well. I planned an escape. There was a slight jog to the left where the route crossed a stream. Just before that bridge is the old gravel road that enters the bridge and leads along the stream for a couple of miles as a backway into town. It isn't used much anymore except by fly fishermen to access the stream. I planned to accelerate in the curve before the bridge, gain some distance on the Hellcat, and then brake hard at the bridge while he was still accelerating to catch me and take the gravel road as fast as possible. I thought that the Hellcat would be going too fast to follow me in the sharp turn, but have to jog left and cross the bridge, giving me time to elude him. But that isn't what happened. I executed the perfect maneuver, skidding onto the gravel road and giving it gas. The Hellcat tried to follow and careened right instead of jogging left across the bridge. Unable to make the tight turn at his speed, he flew to the right of the bridge and through the underbrush, taking air before crashing into the stream below. I stopped at the stream embankment and watched 2 guys climb out of the car. It was totaled. They were alive. I left it for them to solve their road rage in the stream and drove away from that chilling nightmare, happy to be alive. I'm a sales representative for a large pharmaceutical company in a primarily rural hospital and clinic region. It means I spend hours driving country roads to small towns. It's excellent pay, but also hard work and long hours on the road. My company provides a Ford Fusion as a company car. It's an okay car with front-wheel drive, which made it more practical for snowy wintertime driving in the Midwest, where my region was. At the time of this incident, it was one of those wintry days where snow squalls blew across the road, making for some slick driving in places. The roads were not snow-covered or anything, but treacherous if you weren't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. I was speaking on the phone with a hands-free cell phone while trying to look up a medication for a doctor. At the last second, I saw I was about to pass my exit on the highway to a country road to the town where I was headed for the night. I would spend the night there and make my sales calls in the morning in the town. The roads were empty and it was dusk when this unfortunate situation happened. As I said, I wasn't paying attention and the road wasn't as empty as I thought when I put on my brake and swerved to the exit I was about to pass. But as I went up the ramp, a horn blared beside me and a black farm F-150 slid sideways down the road past the exit. I shivered that I had cut off a driver as I watched his truck slide and spin down the road, ending up in the median. I was thankful that it had come to a safe stop without damage or injury to the driver. I continued with much more attention, thanking my lucky stars that the truck had not run into me when I applied my brakes so fast without looking behind me. At the top of the exit ramp was a Waffle House, and since it was now after dark, I pulled in thinking of getting a Texas bacon cheesesteak melt. Something about the gooey melted cheese and bacon consumed my concentration, so I was unaware of the black F-150 pulling into the parking lot. My chilling nightmare is about to begin. I sat at the counter and placed my order when a burly farmhand burst through the door, grabbing me by the collar and yanking me off the stool in a single motion. He was flaming angrily and spewing 4-letter words like lava from a volcano. He was lifting my head from the floor by my tie, and his huge fist was cranked back to slam into my face when 2 truckers stepped up and took my attacker into a headlock. I shouted thank you and bolted out the door, taking a hotel room where I could hide my car. I've never encountered such road rage. I hope never to again.
Subscribe.